here's our 10 base defenses, here's our answers. And so, hey, this is our answer if they start running a bunch of counter. This is our answer if they start doing a bunch of FIB. This is our answer if they're max pro taking shots and we can't cover them, so we got to come after them. Or vice versa, we can't get there and we got to cover them. And so that's how we're constructing our call sheets now versus, hey, let's just put it all in and we'll rep it and we'll keep it up, and then the kids will be able to do it because they've got enough reps at it. Okay. Now this part's, I think, might be more fun for some of you guys, but now we're going on because that year that we were 58th in pass defense, a lot of it was because we had become a really poor third down defense. And so the reason why, when you look at it, and we're going to get into our pressures, is we were primarily a two-man team and a five-man pressure team. One dog, everybody else would call it. We call it zero. For some reason, we call what y'all call zero coverage blitz coverage. So if I say blitz coverage, it's zero. If I say zero, there's a safety in the middle of the field. I'll try to speak in y'all's terms so I don't mess y'all up. But we were primarily five-man pressure, middle field safety, or two-man, and that was it. But we had to look at ourselves and say, here we are with the modern age of quarterbacks. You can't rush four guys and play two-man and really feel good about yourself. So sitting here, a couple clips of us getting hurt. Everybody's covered. Yeah, okay, well, hey, that's common sense. I agree. But this is where we were. We had been a team that felt like, you know what, we have good enough players. We can rush four, and we've always been able to with the way the quarterbacks were, to be able to rush four, push the pocket, not let the guy out of there. And we're not going to change coverage-wise. We're going to be a two-man team primarily on third down. We still are. But if enough of this happens with the more athletic quarterbacks nowadays, you got to sit there and self-assess and say, how am I going to do it? So our primary way to handle our quarterbacks on third down is some form of what we call odd mirror two-man. So odd mirror five. And we're going to assign our one spy, but the difference in how we're going to coach this, and we're going to see on the deal, is it is an aggressive spy. The second the quarterback is off the spot, you get to hug. So it ends up working like a four-man rush twist game. But our idea is the second the quarterback feels the pocket break, and we'll see it, you're gone. Because we don't want I think a lot of people view spies as this guy's hovering at 7 yards, 5 yards until the guy breaks the line of scrimmage. That's not what we want it to be. We still want to be aggressive. We just don't want the inside lanes for the quarterback to escape for immediate yardage. If he wants to get the yardage and convert for us on two-man, he's going to have to run outside and outrun our spy. So here we are in 2 minutes against Auburn this year. We'll change the way we present it every week, and we're going to sit here, and Adam Anderson from Rome is going to run the guy down and just force the throw. It's not about the sack, but it's about, hey, we're going to sit there from the end zone. We're going to make sure that the pocket gets broke by the left end, and we're going to make sure he cannot step up, because when we studied it, almost every scramble for a first down against two-man was B gaps and inside. So we're going to make sure that the pocket gets broke and that the guy has to win outside if he's going to scramble for a first down. And we're going to hope that it's a coaching issue if we got the wrong guy out there to chase the guy down. That's a coaching issue. So, and it gives away, like this guy, he had a role this year when he really, in a lot of ways, couldn't help us on first, second down yet. But it gives guys roles too. So now here we are the year before. Same deal, you'll see the aggressive element. We get a sack off it here. Same deal, pocket's broke. And now you get an aggressive hug by 15. And so you're not sitting there and letting the quarterback hold the ball. It's not that. But it's, hey, if you're going to be a two-man team, you're going to make sure that he gets pulled up. And a lot of times it's just trash. I mean, you get trash sacks off it. And then same deal. Like I said, change the presentation. So this year, in the first year we were there, we're going to double mug. And we're going to make it look like something else we have. We're really big. I think the most important thing on third down is if you can make it look like something else you have. It's not if you can. If you're not making it look like something else you have, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You have to be. It can't be, well, we're doing this just because that's how we line up. Every week, move one guy. It needs to look like what was there last week. It needs, give the other guys credit. But for a long time, when we were at Alabama, it's like, hey, this is what it is on paper. We four-man rush. We play two-man. We got good players. Hey, this is our five-man rush done out of odd. And not that we didn't have new ideas, but we're much more focused. If I had to comment on ourselves from where we were in the past, and I think a lot of guys are doing really good jobs on third down right now, we're much more concerned with what did we run last week? How can we show that so that whatever they repped is now something else? Now, so to build off that, all these double mug looks that we were given all year, one of the mug guys was popping out, hovering, or popping out in coverage. And we mug guys all the time on third down. So we said in this game, we're still going to have a spy, but we're going to dictate that the protection gets slid to the left. We're going to have 41 take a step back like he is abandoning the rush. The back's going to have him in protection, or the guard, whichever one. Somebody is going to leave him, and the second he sees his eyes come off him, you're an aggressive hug to the quarterback. And you still had 56 over there as your spy if the guy gets flushed to the field. But so we wanted to be able, and so major concern saying, hey, we know that all week long when we mug, guys popping out, the back's getting out, somebody's getting out, the guard, his eyes are changing in protection. So give them something and make them. I think we always talk in defensive football about defensive eye discipline. Hey, eye discipline in coverage, eye discipline in keys. But finding ways to really stress the protection to be disciplined with their eyes and not letting them know where things are and making the back or making the guards track people from other areas or to not abandon somebody the second he drops. So the other thing was, like I said a second ago, we were primarily a 5 or 6 man middle of field closed pressure team. We were very predictable in terms of you could look out there even when we were disguising. Hey, I'm getting 2-man or man-free. So you could see just flying through. And all your man-free pressures, there's nothing wrong with them, but they're high investment. You're giving them what they want. It's high investment, high risk, high reward. And so you can see here as we fast forward through this, calling a man-free pressure, backed up, giving up a 99-yard touchdown. Sitting here, they know where the one-on-ones are, but this was the world we lived in. And so they know they can go on 3rd and 6 and throw a back shoulder at the sticks. They know in the red zone when they see a pressure look and we're pressed outside because we were off in our 2-man a lot of the time, reading the releases, hey, I can go take the one-on-one ball to the field. And so as we go through, I know that, hey, on the slot, I can either throw the fade to the slot and attack them that way, away from the middle field safety, or I can sit there and the way, like Coach Mark was saying earlier, Tom Herman told us, hey, y'all play outside leverage all the time on the slot. We felt like, yeah, slants. I mean, it's 3rd and 5. We're going to throw slants. But that's the way we believed in playing it. So we've modified that a little bit. But we were so predictable. It was 2-man or it was this. And there were so many easy access throws or throws that we knew, hey, we basically gave them the opportunity to convert that 3rd down. And so now the world we're in, click through this because am I over right now? Or where am I at? Anybody? Bueller? Got it. Here we go. Okay. So our solution, and I think this is the way a lot of college football is going, is almost all of our 3rd downs this year are what we call simulated pressures. They are mostly 4-man rushes. They are some form of zone or cover one with a low hole player. And we're going to try to dictate the protection we're getting and play our coverages behind it that we want in that situation on it, based on down and distance. So third and medium, we can sit here, line up in a bear look, know there's a high likelihood that we get the back on the linebacker and drop people out, and it's a 4-man rush. Now we're talking about the 5- and 6-man pressures. They have a high cost and a high risk. This 4-man rush, that's what you're playing with on every down. So it's minimal risk for the possible reward. So here we are, we call this bears, but we're here. You get in a 5 down, they're releasing the back here on the screen, but even if he was in protection, you're going to get your one-on-one. A lot of times you're going to get to choose who you want the one-on-one to be, move your best player there, and then the way it was ruled up on paper, the end to the right, he's not peeling. He has that back man-to-man, period. And the other guy on the end of the line, the DB on the end of the line to the boundary, he is the low hole rat, period. So that's where, and now he's taking the crossers away. So this has become a lot of what we do versus, hey, now we got people in the windows for the slants, for the pick routes, the mesh routes. We have people in those windows. Now Same type of presentation. It's the same deal. You can see this time the backer on the end of the line to the boundary. He has the back, and now the player standing up is our low hole. But we are going to run the same stunt that a lot of people would say, well, I'm going to take everything out of this in a second, fast forward through it. You can see we got a low hole player to protect the crossers on the bunch route. But now, what's our real investment? Roquan has the back man-to-man. So who's really in the rush? 4 guys. It's a delay by 7. He's letting it set up, and it's a 3-man pass-off. And you had the low hole player. So why would you rush 5 or 6 when you could do this instead and get an extra player underneath for the quarterback? Now, I will say one of our big conversations we have as we go through these is sometimes we need more real stuff. We've become so infatuated with, hey, we're going to bring 4 and they're coming from all over. But there's still got to be a time where you push the pocket and fill up the rush lanes. And we probably did not, if we're self-scouting ourselves at the end, we started the Alabama game 6 for 6 on 3rd down. And we gave up the last 5. And probably one of our commentaries looking back on it is we needed more real pressure at the end of that game. We didn't fill up enough rush lanes. We were bringing too many simulateds. But for the most part, these have been really, really good for us because they are very, they're low. You don't use a lot of guys to have to run them. So same deal. We got a 4-man rush here. You can see, hey, we're going to give one guy the back, pop the other guy low hole. And you're going to get, based on the protection, unless they slide it, you're probably going to get a one-on-one for somebody on the back. So if you can manage to get one of your best players one-on-one on the back and only rush 4, it's a good deal to me. I'm going to click through. We got a couple more. You'll see we got a couple more that are with the low hole player, the traditional one rat that we can click through. But I want to get to some of the other concepts that we really go to as well. So it's not all still middle of field close. So we're going to click through these. But now we'll go to what we call bird dog coverage. So bird dog is a 4-man rush 2 trap. So we want, hey, the 2 trap effect, but somebody is there who can possibly account for the quarterback or the back. So we're going to sit there, same deal, get in some type of a look that we feel like can dictate protection. In this case, we're going to line up 5 down. We're going to line up in a bear look. And we're going to bring somebody non-box count that the running back has now got to be disciplined with his eyes to track from the box to outside the box. And at the end of the day, we're rushing 4, and we can play whatever coverage we really want with it. But here, we're going to be hard rolled up in the flats, something you can play on 3rd and intermediate. And so now you can see here, we're mugged up. We push out. We're running with the verticals as we get out of there. The back stays in, but he starts to track because there's a safety showing down to the boundary, has a good disguise there. He's starting to track him as his box count players leave, and he misses the nickel from the field. And if he picks it up, how much did you invest in it? 4 guys. So if he picks it up, whereas I feel like sometimes when you're investing in your 5-man, your 6-man, you're sitting there saying, hey, I need somebody, 1, to win. You get a one-on-one, you're supposed to win, right? Especially for us. Like if we get the right guys in the building, you're supposed to win. Or we've dictated who gets the one-on-one. But when you rush 4 here, you can possibly get your one-on-one, and then if they pick it up, it's not the end of the world. You still have sound coverage. You're not sitting there, hurting. So here we go. You can see there. Get the turn. And then I think what's been big for us this year is we're saying, hey, now, week to week, we like that pressure. They're tracking whoever our big guy is, or they're not accounting for this guy in the rush because of what we've done. Now, the guy who was the dropper in all these before, he is now our live rusher. So on that last clip, Lorenzo Carter was our dropper. We're going to run the exact same pressure. And now we've taken the nickel, put him in the box to get the protection count, and put our guy we want the one-on-one for, in this case, 15, DeAndre Walker, and line him out. And now 4-man rush again, and just simple, same exact pressure. For us, we called the other one Falcons, and then this one's called bends. Bends, the big guy flips. Falcons playing the bends. So it's very simple from everybody except for those 2 guys knows, word association, we flip on this one. And for the presentation in terms of, you don't know how they're counting they're saying, hey, don't count this guy, do count this guy. But you move them, run the exact same deal, and you're getting free guys sometimes with free guys or one-on-ones that you want on four-man rush. Like I said, now everything is now inside out. We're carrying the verticals. We're denying the ball back underneath. We're giving things to the flat, to the corner, or whoever the flat player is. But you're getting a lot of the looks that you want. And all it takes is, hey, you got to coach. They got to have some nuts to stand in there, because you got to until you get whatever the indicator of the week is that they call their protection. Once you get their protection indicator, now I can leave. But I'm holding up in there until either the quarterback's ready for play or we get the protection called from the O-line. And then same deal now, hey, you go in, you say, well, you guys just said you're turning and running. You're turning and running with these guys if they go vertical on that. Back to the same issue. You're going to want me, you said don't play two-man with a four-man rush because you run with everybody. The quarterback escapes internally. And now, hey, this one's Atlanta. Now Atlanta sprint 3. So we're back to playing cover 3. So you have Falcons, Benz, Atlanta. They're all the exact same pressure. One changes the coverage. One changes who's running it. But from learning purposes and getting to have different looks and getting guys to do more things and promote, or cause more problems, it causes more problems than it takes the investment in reps. The guys know these 3 things are the same. And so now we're playing zone with it to handle a quarterback that might be more mobile, or it'll allow you to play it on a down that, hey, they're going to run vertical more. And you don't want to lose all your eyes and your vision. Okay, and then what's the, where am I at? I don't know. I didn't look up, so I don't know if I've got a 5 or not. Can somebody give me a time? So I got 10? Great. We got plenty of tape left. Good. You're going to get, there's a whole second half of this presentation. So we're good. Cover 2 now. So now I want to take this picture. This picture that we see is about the exact same presentation as the one we just ran, the Atlanta, the Falcons, the Benz. We got everybody mugged to the field, and now we're going to get a 4-man rush. Our 4th rusher is now our corner, and we're going to play straight cover 2. But we're knowing, hey, we've run Atlanta, Benz, Falcons 4 times this year at this point. So if we run it 4 times this year at this point, then we know there's a good chance that maybe they're not going to 5 down it. Maybe they're not going to big on big it. They're going to slide the protection based on where the big guys are. So we're going to intentionally put our big guys to the field and then pressure to the boundary. So, and then play cover 2 with it. Now, part of where this comes from is we sat the week before, and I think you have to, just like you learn and try to visit with every opposition you have, the great part about Coach Smart is he's sitting there and going on Sunday after Kentucky, he goes, you should see this 4-man rush simulated that Kentucky ran. Said our offense, the back, he couldn't track with his eyes to the corner. He goes, we didn't even touch the guy. 4-man rush. So the next week it's in. So within our package, you can't completely overhaul what you do, but hey, I'm here. It's easy to add in. So here, our offense 2 minutes before the half. The safety's down in the box. When he leaves, Swift doesn't track to the corner because he's tracking the guy in the box, and they get a free hit on the quarterback. So we come back. We said, well, there's our 2 pre-snap presentations. We're trying. You can see over here, you got, I guess I can't draw there. You got DeAndre Walker standing out here, and now we're sitting here. That's Adam Anderson, but it's the same position on the field saying that's what we want. We want them to turn this protection to him. We think that they've got us figured out enough because we keep putting this big guy standing out to the field near the hash, and he comes, so we got to go throw our curveball in there. So now we're here, 4-man rush again. 4-man rush, the corner's free, and you're not playing trap where you're worried about not having everybody accounted for or running with everybody. You get to play true zone, inefficient. Now, I will say this, before I forget to say this, one of the things that we probably, because if you look, the biggest criticism of us on defense, you say, well, y'all don't sack the quarterback enough, and y'all don't get enough tackles for loss. And I agree with that, and that's something that we probably reflecting on it, say, we need to let our guys rush more because we have some guys that can rush, which is why I'm going back to don't get infatuated with this stuff too much. It needs to be a part of what you do. If you adopt it, it can't become all of what you do. And we probably, because of, now we're getting off the field on these. It's not like you can, if you're getting off the field, it's a good call. But there are some times that we said, man, we could have just called a four-man rush and played zone and gotten the exact same thing. Because sometimes these guys, I mean, they're like, man, can you stop calling these simulated pressures? Can you just let me rush? I'm tired of, I'm 250 pounds and you just keep popping me back here in the low hole. I mean, you gotta give them a little love. So that's our variation off that. You get our mug, they're gonna turn it. They don't account for the corner. You can see the back. He's got to have eye discipline. He's trying to track them. His eyes never go back to the corner. And then we'll do the same thing with the bird dog carrying. So I want to get to some of this tackle for loss study stuff. So, okay, thank you. Okay, but before we get that, it goes back to what I was saying a second ago. To simulate pressure, you have to have enough real pressures in there. So if you go look, just to show a couple of these, we're in the same look that all of our Bens and Falcons and all those were. We got our bear look, and now you have to have the ability to truly 5- and 6-man pressure because the quarterback has to feel you at some point, and you're more likely to get a hit on the quarterback and get hands on him when you do bring guys. But now this becomes our curveball. So when we do bring everybody, a lot of times it almost panics the quarterback because there is real pressure, there is real push. And so here we're in the same look. We're going to have our 3-man magic stun, our twist stun inside. A lot of times you're going to say the twister gets picked up by the back if the O-line doesn't get it passed off. And so we're going to bring 35, who's the back is responsible for in protection. We're going to bring him the other way to try to draw his eyes if he was in protection. Not expecting 35 to get home, but expecting that when the twist happens, if they don't pass it off, that the back won't be able to scan across for him because his rule in protection is that's my man if we 5 down it. And then we skipped over some double mug stuff that we had. I apologize for that, but there's all the simulateds out of double mug that are 4-man rush. And then now the only way those are any good and the only way you don't get them to full slide every double mug is if you'll truly fire people off the edges from double mug. And so we have a real 5-man, 2-trap corner pressure here. After we had some 1 rats out of this and we had some true cover 2 zones out of this as well. And I can get that to whoever needs it. Or Austin can. Austin's up here in the front. He really made this presentation. The idea started last year, but Austin did all the retooling. So Coach Smart said I made the presentation. Austin made the presentation. It's been a fun week on the road, relaying information back. Okay, but now the last thing, I think this is good. We did this a lot at Alabama. We do not really do it at Georgia, but I wanted to make sure it was on this tape. But when we first went into the simulated pressures in really 2015, we did a lot of these cover 5 simulated so you could still play 2-man. And so we'll go sit there, and on this is what we call Mars. The inside linebacker is going to run a twist stunt. But we assigned 1 guy to the back and 1 guy to the tight end. But you're going to make them pass it off and play 2-man. We're thinking, hey, now we get the best of both worlds. We love playing 2-man, and we love running these twist stunts that you would normally invest 5 or 6 guys on. So you can see we're getting to play 2-man around it. And we end up getting a pick here out of the 2-man. Quarterback forces the ball with some pressure. But now you look at the picture from the box, and we're getting a stunt that we would normally have to invest 5 or 6 guys in to run, but we're really investing 4. And you can do this with any coverage you want. You can play zone with it, but you're getting all the twists that you run probably in your deal. You say, hey, this guy on the edge is being wasted. Let's just give him some other responsibility in coverage. And the part of the rush that wins, the part of the rush that's the winner that you're getting your pressure and your sack off of, keep that in there and take the other stuff and do something else with it as long as. And the last one, you do the same thing out of an odd look. So it's the exact same stunt. Now we're standing people up, and now we're going to let our nose, it's 2-man around it, let the nose be the penetrator. But once again, 4-man rush, we're playing 2-man with it. You get pressure, and it's low resource investment. And then so just our big thing is we want to constantly try to evolve and we want to constantly work. So we were okay in third downs this year. We were 23rd in the country. But while we've been on the road, our support staff is cutting up the top 12 teams in the country on third down defense. And like I know Army is a big-time simulated pressure team. And so we'll have our write-ups, and we'll go back through those cut-ups and say, hey, what fits what we do? We're not going to force ourselves into something we don't do, but what fits what we do, or is there something we're missing that's new out there? Because I think that the biggest thing is to try to stay, going back to the first Darwin quote, to try to stay as much up with the times and changing. And there's a quote by, I believe it was Einstein or somebody that talks about that the ultimate measure of intelligence is the ability to learn new information. I'm going to pull it up. Here it is. I'm not going to make up some false quote for you guys. But as we go to the end of this, you'll see we had a TFL, so we're constantly evolving. Yeah, the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. So I think it ties into the first quote that it says that the most intelligent man or the most intelligent person isn't necessarily who survives and evolves, but the person who evolves is the one who's willing to change. But then this ties in with it saying that, hey, the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. And so, with that, go Dogs. Appreciate you guys. I got the Tackle for Loss study. Got a Tackle for Loss study. If anybody wants to look at that, you can get that from Austin as well. So, appreciate you guys.